Hello and welcome back to e-learning. In this video, we will be discussing chapter 13, 14 and 15 of Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan. Chapter 13, The MCC. 6 weeks passed, after which Rajam comes to Swami's house to tell him that he forgives him for everything, from his political activities to his new status as a student at the board school. Okay, so he left the mission school and has joined the board school. We also get to see that Swami quickly found himself happily the center of attention at his new school, though he does not have close friends there. Back at the mission school, Somu was left behind after failing an exam. Shankar moved away after his father was transferred, and the P began school months late due to mysterious causes. Swami still sees money every day, but Rajam finds Swami trying to build but he sees money every day but had not seen Rajam since leaving the mission school. Okay, so here Rajam finds Swami trying to build a camera, and Swami explains that a boy in his new class had done so. Rajam criticizes Swami for thinking that his new school is superior, and Swami, wanting to win Rajam over, agrees that he does not like the board school but says that he had no choice in leaving the mission school. Rajam tells Swami that he should have stayed away from politics in the first place, and Swami agrees. Rajam is convinced by Swami's consent and tells him that they should go back to being good friends. Rajam suggests forming a cricket team, and although Swami initially feels that he is not good enough to play, Rajam convinces him to try. Rajam says that the team will be called the MCC, but Swami worries that they could get into legal trouble since there is already a professional cricket team using that name. Swami suggests some other names for the team, and they make a list of all the possibilities, choosing Victory Union 11 as an additional name. Swami brings up the idea that they might need to pay a tax to the government, concerned that their name will not be reserved unless they do so. Considering all of the Swami's points, Rajam reflects that starting a cricket team is the most complicated problem on earth, and feels sympathetic towards Gandhi's opposition to the government. Swami and Rajam go to Mani's house to choose cricket equipment from a sporting good catalogue. Mani insists that a certain kind of bat, the junior Willard bat, is the best kind, and that their team must order them. The three friends choose the goods they need from the catalogue, arguing good-naturedly about how much bats they need, and then settle down to write a letter ordering the supplies. Swami at first agrees to write the letter but becomes overwhelmed by the task, at which point Rajam takes over writing a letter from both MCC and Victory Union 11. They complete the letter and agree to mail it. The postman arrives with a card for Rajam, which turned out to be from Shankar, who says that he is also playing cricket now. The three friends are excited to hear from Shankar and immediately write letters in return, only to realize that they do not have an address to mail them to. Soon after, Rajam receives a reply from the Sporting Goods Company addressed to the captain of the MCC. The friends are delighted to have their team recognized by the company and the postal service. The letter from the company asks for a 25% payment, which confuses them and leaves them unsure how to respond. Eventually, they concluded that the letter was sent to them by mistake, even though Swami points out that it is addressed to the captain of their team. They write back to the company, returning the letter and asking that their cricket supplies to be sent quickly. Swami, Rajam and Mani continues to believe that the cricket supplies will arrive soon and that perhaps the company is even making them specially for their team. In the meantime, they make bats from a wooden box and get used tennis balls from Rajam's father's club and begin practicing without their complete supplies. The P joins their team along with a few boys that Rajam chooses from his class. The team assembles for their first practice. The P arrives late without the stumps he promised to bring, but says that he will bring them to the next practice. Rajam and the others are at first upset not to have the supplies they need to play a full game of cricket, but they manage to continue when someone suggests using the wall as a temporary wicket. As practice starts, Swami bowls very well and is immediately given the nickname Tet after a famous bowler. Chapter 14. Granny shows her ignorance. Swami discovers that the workload and pressure of his new school is much greater than those he experienced at the mission school. Swami is also obliged to attend mandatory drill practices and scout classes after school, and the punishments for missing a class is harsh. Swami's days are now full of rigor and work, and he is a more attentive student than he had been previously. After school obligation, that is drill practice or scout classes, he runs home to drop off his supplies, then arrives at the cricket field by evening. Though he tries his best to get there quickly, Swami is often disappointed to find that the practice is concluding by the time he arrives, and Rajam is annoyed at him for arriving late. One day, Swami's grandmother calls to him during the brief time that he is at home between school and cricket practice. He feels sorry for how often she is ignored and goes to see what she wants. She asks him to go and get her a lemon to soothe her stomach pain and offers to let him keep 3 paise for himself. But when she gives him a time limit, he gets annoyed and runs out to practice. Late that evening, Swami arrives home feeling guilty for abandoning his grandmother earlier. He goes to see her worrying that she might die because of his neglect, but she tells him that his mother gave her a lemon and she is feeling better. Swami is joyful and relieved to find her doing well, and in his excitement he tells her about being nicknamed Tet. However, he is dismayed to find that she doesn't know who Tet is, and furthermore, she does not know what cricket is. He lectures her on the basic of cricket and explains how well Rajam leads his team. Swami's father enters, carrying Swami's baby brother, and remarks that soon it will be the baby teaching everyone about the world. Rajam warns Swami that he cannot keep being late for cricket practice. Swami tells Rajam that the board school schedule keeps him from arriving on time. So Rajam suggests asking the board school headmaster to let him leave early until after their match. Swami tells Rajam that he is afraid of the headmaster. So Rajam announces that he will speak to the headmaster after himself at Swami's school the next day. Swami begs Rajam not to go to the school, but Rajam insists on doing so. To avoid seeing Rajam at his school, Swami pretends to be sick the next morning. His father thinks that he is well enough to go to school, but his granny and mother support him and convince his father to let him stay home. Even though he does not have a fever, halfway through the day, Swami becomes anxious and tells his mother that he feels better and wants to go to school. Swami, thinking that money will already might have gone. On the way there, he runs to Rajam and Mani, who tells him that they have gone to his school but left when they found he wasn't there. Mani is carrying a club, which makes Swami afraid of what his friends might try to do to the board school headmaster. Rajam leads Swami back to school and tells Mani to wait outside while they speak to the board school headmaster. Rajam and Swami enter the headmaster's office and find him sleeping. They wait for 10 minutes and then make noise to wake him up. The headmaster asks what they are doing there, and Rajam explains that Swami, the best bowler on the team, needs to leave school early to get cricket practice on time. The headmaster listens and then orders them to leave the office without granting Swami permission to leave school early. Mani gets tired of waiting outside and enters the office with his club, but the headmaster is not intimidated. Rajam tells the headmaster that Rajam's father is the police superintendent, but even that fails to convince the headmaster. Rajam leads his friend out of the office in disgust. Chapter 15. Before the match. The MCC had scheduled a cricket match against a team called Young Men's Union. The match is friendly in name, but in fact, the MCC sent a complicated list of demands and threats along with their invitation, including asking the other team to bring their own supplies and telling them that they will have to pay for anything they matched in the course of the match. The match is scheduled for a Sunday, 2 weeks in the future. As the team's captain Rajam throws himself into ensuring that his team beats the YMU, Rajam believes that they are capable of doing so, but he is very worried about Swami, who continues to arrive late to practice. With only a week to go until the cricket match, Swami realizes that he has to find a way to get extra practice and goes to tell his after-school drill master that he is not feeling well. The master asks what is wrong, and Swami tells him that he is delirious and has been unable to sleep. Though he angrily accuses him of lying, the drill master lets Swami leave early, and Rajam is very pleased to see Swami at the practice on time. The next morning, Swami sneaks out of the house and goes to visit a physician named Dr. Kesavan before school. He explains that he needs to get a certificate that will allow him to leave school early to practice for the cricket match. The doctor appears concerned but laughs at Swami when Swami says that he has delirium and that it is some kind of stomach ache. The doctor examines Swami and says that because he is well, he cannot get a certificate. However, the doctor offers to talk to the board school headmaster for him and asks that Swami be allowed to leave school in time for practice. Swami leaves school early and attends practice on time for next several days, making Rajam and the rest of the team very happy. He explains that he needs to get a certificate. Okay, I'm sorry. He has already gone to the physician, isn't it? And then he goes to the practice, and his friends are very happy, isn't it, to see him coming early for the practice. On Friday, however, the board school headmaster comes to Swami's class and confronts him in front of the class about missing drill practice all week. Swami protests that Dr. Kesavan had said he would die if he attends drill, and that the doctor should have talked to the headmaster. The headmaster dismisses Swami's defense, and Swami realizes that the doctor betrayed him. The headmaster prepared to can Swami, but without thinking, Swami grabs the can, throwing it out the window, and runs away from the school. Swami sits under a tree to think through his situation. He realizes that there are no more schools in Malguri, and that his behavior might mean that even schools in other cities wouldn't accept him. He thinks that he might have to get a job, and although he would enjoy having money, he knows that his father won't let him live at home without going to school. Swami decides that he cannot face his father and chooses to leave the city on his own. Swami continues onward to his old school, the mission school. He feels full of nostalgia and misses everything about it, from his friends to his teachers to the headmaster, whom he now finds dignified. He feels as if he is an outcast and has no choice but to leave Malguri. He wishes to talk to Rajam and Mani before going, so Swami goes behind the school and waits for a young boy to come outside to blow his nose. He calls the boy over and offers him an almond peppermint in exchange for going and getting Rajam from his class. The boy agrees and returns with Rajam. Swami gives the boy a 3 paise coin rather than the promised peppermint, which disappoints the boy, but he goes back to his class nonetheless. Swami then explains his situation to Rajam, who criticizes him for always getting in trouble. Rajam tells Swami that he has seen their cricket opponents practicing and that Swami must not miss the match. On the spot, Swami decides not to tell Rajam that he is running away, but instead plans to live for 2 days without telling anyone and return for the match. Then he will leave Malguri for good after the match. Rajam goes back to class, reminding Swami to come early to practice. So my dear students, this is all for this video. I hope you have already watched the previous videos and you are following the chapters. Do continue to watch because there are few more chapters which is left for explanation. Thank you.